next guest, in his blog about family, ministry, and worship, shared a true story about his family's visit to Walmart one day, a visit that would lead to a purchase of a doll that most would not have readily paired with his young daughter. Pastor Travis Agnew joins us from Greenwood, South Carolina, where he is worship pastor at Northside Baptist Church. And with me in studio is clinical social worker Natania Kremer. Thank you to you both, Pastor Travis as well as Natania. But Travis, I want you to tell me about your story titled My White Daughter's Black Baby Doll.
Our three kids to Walmart the other day. We have two 5-year-olds. One of them is white, one of them is black, and we have a younger daughter, Gloria, who is 1. And as they were going through the toy section, my wife decided to stroll them through. And what happened was she started reaching out for a baby doll and really trying to get a hold of it. And as my wife kept putting different baby dolls in front of her, she wanted the black baby doll more than any. And being a white girl, it was sort of a lot of people were staring at this situation. And she just locked onto this baby doll, so much so we had to pry it out of her hand just so that we could check out with the doll. And she has gotten to where she loves that baby doll to death, and so much so that many people were staring at my wife and our 3 children as they were going through Walmart thinking, what in the world is going on with this family? But she absolutely adores this, and the only time that I'll ever have problems with my little daughter is if I try to take that baby doll out of her hands.
So Pastor, so what I understand when I was reading the backdrop of your story, so there's transracial adoption. So your son, in hearing that story, I mean, it is beautiful in an ideal world that race would not be an issue, but in fact it is. So how is it that you're addressing bringing your son, your black son, into it? Like, do you place a direct emphasis on immersing him in black culture, or do you kind of step back and are looking at this more as if the human race, he's a member of the human race?
Sure. Well, as a pastor, as a believer in Jesus Christ, I believe that what the gospel does is it takes different people groups and different races and brings them together as one and unites us. And so for us, when we decided on a process of adoption, we looked at where one of the greatest needs was in the world, and we decided to jump in. And so with us, for our family, we just want our children to learn. And coming from the Bible Belt in the South, a lot of people grew up with stereotypes, prejudices, different racial stereotypes. And we just think it's great that our children can look at their brothers and sisters and realize that there is no difference. And so a lot of that means that the friends that you have, the people that you're a part of in the family, the people that are at your church or at your gym, you look at yourself, or even the books and the toys that you have. Are they all just one race that you're looking at? And so for us, we believe that while race is a very important issue, it's not the most important issue, and it shouldn't definitely alienate people from each other.
And I hear you on that. This is just the topic that's very close to my heart, because I was raised by a white family who, my father, being a Baha'i, embraced the religion's principles of racial unity, of having a universal consciousness. So they purposely didn't want me to feel different than my white siblings. And so I grew up without any access, any immersion in black culture. As a matter of fact, they hid my racial identity from me until I was 14 years old, because they didn't want me to feel different. But I still experienced a tremendous amount of racism without any of the tools that I could have received from parents had they acknowledged what really does happen in society. Because I think that there's obviously what we hope for, and then there is what is. And we, if we're going to be healthy, obviously need to operate in reality versus the ideal situation.
And Natania, what we're hearing from Pastor Travis is really heartwarming and is touching. And as we look at the photos of him and his family, what isn't there to like about it? It's so beautiful. But there's so much more to that when you have a family in which races are not the same, yet those on the outside looking in are certainly seeing that, even if you as the parent choose not to teach that to your children.
Absolutely. I would say it's an issue for all white families, all families of color, and trans-racially unified families, that the reality is we are in a system and a structure in the United States where we've inherited intergenerationally a racist, institutionally racist, and also culturally and often individually racist system. And so what happens is when young children are first coming into the world, they're inundated with messages through experiences they have with family members, with friends, but also, of course, with the media, their very first school experiences. We know from the research that race and ethnicity has a profound impact and is central to the social knowledge that children are developing very early in life. As soon as 6 months, they're already able to distinguish between different races. And then by preschool, there are many, many studies really looking at the ways in which young children are actually taking in messages about racial differences and acting them out in their play, and then in how they're perceiving other people in the world. And so I think the story that Pastor Travis shared is really heartwarming and also a perfect example that we are not in a colorblind world, and young children are actually understanding those differences.
So what happens for you when you have a family you're working with a family that is transracially unified, as you just said? What advice do you give to parents who adopt children of a different race? Do you say, okay, look, this is a prescription that I think will help your family come together, not just emotionally, but also, preparing everyone for life within and outside the color lines?
I think the best advice I give to families is that despite any discomfort we may have as parents speaking with children when issues come up, when a statement is made that might be considered offensive, that it's crucial to actually open up the space for children to express their understandings and concerns, and to have really authentic dialogue with young children right off the start about what it means to be in a racially constructed society and how to really work to have a more fair and just world. So really just having the conversations and talking about race is most crucial.
It starts with the conversation.
Absolutely.
Or in Pastor Travis's case, it starts with a very touching blog post about your story. Thank you so much, Pastor Travis Agnew, joining us today from South Carolina, sharing the story of your family. And also thank you, Natania, for sharing some really insightful information about this, because I think sometimes when we look at diverse families, we don't see all of the various nuanced layers that are there to it. And also thank you, Sil Lai Abrams, for joining me as guest co-host. I certainly do hope that you will come back again and join me out here on the hot seat again.
I look forward to coming.
All right, wonderful. And thank you. You are watching Our Take. Keep it right here. I'm not going away quite yet.